Principal, Norman Manley Law School, our host, Dr. Christopher Malcolm.
The Honorable Mr. Justice Ronald Hughes Small, KC, our guest speaker.
The Honorable Mrs. Margot MacDonald Bishop, President, Court of Appeal.
The Honorable Miss Hilary Phillips, retired Judge of Appeal.
Members of the Judiciary.
Chairman of the General Legal Council, Ms. Denise Kitson.
Members of the Bar.
Including Ms. Tanisha Walters, President of the Jamaican Bar Association.
What kings? Senior Tutor.
I'm changing her name. She'll tell you why. Please continue.
Senior Tutor, Mrs. Eulalie Greenaway.
Senior Tutor Emerita, Madame Dorcas White.
Faculty and Administrative Staff, Norman Manley Law School.
Dean of the Faculty of Law of the University of the West Indies, Professor Shazida Ali, and Faculty and Administrative Staff of the University of the West Indies Faculty of Law.
And our future council, students, Norman Manley Law School.
Well, we also have to acknowledge at least two of our esteemed sponsors as well, Miss Chan Pan from Tasty Limited and Mr. Christopher Townsend of Townsend White Importer.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening.
And you're supposed to answer back. Thank you, please.
Almighty God and Father, in the name of Jesus, we invoke your presence here even now. The presence with us, Almighty God. The presence to bless the proceedings from the beginning to the end. Bless all who had every part in the organization. And we thank you for that. We thank you for our principals, our senior tutor, our registrar, our librarian, and our legal aid director. We thank you for all members of the academic staff, administrative staff, and the ancillary staff. All our friends of the law school, all retirees. We thank you, Almighty God, for the alumni. We thank you. And Lord God, we ask that you bless each and every one of us. Remember our past principals who are still alive. Remember Caroline, Sebastian, Ms. Suzette, for you, your special blessing on our present principals. Remember our students, those who are trying, upwards in life, and again, year 1 and year 2. Bless our MCs. Bless our caterers. Bless the food that we are going to be eating. We pray, mighty God, that your blessing will be upon each and every one of us. And that you will save those who are not, and those who are, will edify them greatly. And those who are in a backsliding condition, restore them speedily. Bless us, mighty God. Put your seal of success upon this evening's endeavors. Put your seal of safety upon our travel, restore the present. So bless us each and keep us. Let your face shine upon us and be gracious to us. Lift up the light of your countenance upon us and give us your peace. For we pray in no other name but the mighty name of Jesus, the exalted one, who taught us to say, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. In the Spirit. Bless the Lord.
An institution like ours, which has had over 50 years, we have had dining experiences before, we have had mentorship events before. So what we're doing here is something for this time being delivered in a particular way, but I do not wish to be claiming that we're doing something which is also innovative. I really am not here to claim that. I'm here to say, however, that what we have now is a group of us gathered, practitioners, members of the bench, and persons who are in the second year and some first years as well, who will soon become members of the bar, who will help us to keep this as a sustained initiative going forward. It was something that we designed at the time in the intention that this pilot that we're having will allow us to iron a few kinks out, and to, from as early as September of this year, being the new academic year 26-27, we will introduce in a much more formal way a sustained dining initiative where we intend to have at least 4 presentations like this each year. 2 in the first semester, first term, and 2 also in the second term. There could be more with the generous support and involvement of the bar. And what I'm particularly excited about is the extent to which the bar and the bench have been prepared to support this initiative. We need your support and we're getting it. And again, without delaying the meal, without delaying anything else, let me just say thank you all for your time, thank you for your commitment, and thank you for your promise to help us to make this bigger and better. Let us simply commit to doing what we can do to ensuring that we maintain the caliber and quality that we want to see. Let us ensure that we are supportive of each other. Let us ensure that we give mentorship to our students. This is part of a bigger mentorship initiative. Let us go forward with mentorship. Let us go forward together. Let us go forward to raise the bar higher than it has ever been. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Principal. Keep the round of applause going for the effervescent Principal, Dr. Christopher Manley. And I would like you, without feeling shy, to raise your hands if you accessed the website that was created for this event. Congratulations to those who have, and a gentle nudge to those who have not. There is a platform. It is accessible on your phones, but more so on your computers and tablets. Feel free to register and become part of the digital community.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. Principal Dr. Christopher Malcolm and the leadership of the law school, I thank you for honoring me by this invitation. When I received it, I reflected on my personal interactions with the person after whom this law school has been named, national hero Norman Manley, and the first principal of the law school, Mr. Justice Aubrey Fraser. He invited me to become a part of the staff of the law school when it used to operate out of the Gibraltar buildings, the wooden buildings, before the current building at the Ring Road was established. I said to Aubrey at the time that my interest was in the practical side of nurturing the persons who were at the law school. And he said we are not ready for that yet. But he asked me to be an examiner in a paper which at the time I think was called Status of the Legal Profession. And so I marked the papers of Dr. Eileen Boxill and Mr. Belnavis, who are part of the very small class of first year. I'm not going to call persons at the law school students, because all of you are graduates in law, and some of you have had more than one degree. And I think that we ought to recognize that you are, in fact, interns on your way through the school to becoming professionals registered under the Legal Professional Act. Profession Act. I want to have an interactive experience here today. And one of the things that I'm grateful to Dr. Malcolm for is that at my request, he gave me the names of two interns. They, along with a number of other people, have been very helpful in guiding me to understand the complex efforts that have been made in the past to promote mentorship. You are the second one. To promote mentorship as part of the pillars of your transition from being graduates to becoming members of our profession under the Legal Profession Act. And I want to start by saying that by interacting with the many people that I have interacted with, I'm going to call some names now. I hope that others who I've interacted with will not be offended if I don't call them by name. But people that include Carol Einer, Hilary Phillips, the chairman of the General Legal Counsel, Denise Kitson. I've spoken to the president of the Bar Association. And the very first person that I spoke to was a young lady whose experience here was during COVID. And she told me how testing and challenging it was. So as I've said, I regard you not as students. I'm speaking now directly to the persons from the first and the second year. I regard you not as students, but as persons who are in fact graduates in law. Many of you, including both of the persons to whom Dr. Malcolm referred me, have done many other academic studies before and are very much interns, eager to make their mark in our profession, and therefore we should not regard them as students. The first question I ask, and this is directed to not to the professionals who are there, not to the members of the teaching staff or academicians from the University of the West Indies. What were your expectations when you entered the law school. What were your expectations? What did you expect to gain out of this experience, given that many of you had already established your reputation as persons who were devoted to excellence in law? When you came here, did you have any idea where you wanted to go after you left the law school and went to this Supreme Court registrar on King Street and signed the roll of attorneys at law? Did you have any idea of where you wanted to practice law? As you entered law school, did you ask yourself the question, how will I behave as a lawyer? Because even if you wanted to be a conveyancer, as one of the persons at my table has indicated, you still have to have an idea how you're going to behave as a lawyer. When somebody comes into your office and wants something done in relation to conveyancing, which you know cannot be done in the way in which that particular person is demanding of you. Did you consider, how would I tell a senior associate that I'm drowning in work without making it appear that I'm incompetent? Because these are challenges that you're going to face. How can I make a choice between being a corporate lawyer or a lawyer who is more involved in issues of public interest, when I've never actually had a conversation with a corporate lawyer or a public interest lawyer? And I don't know whether, having been in that field for some time, they are happy and fulfilled professionals. How will I handle the anxieties of my first client meeting? How do I pick myself up after a senior lawyer already inks my first draft and leaves it on my desk? I don't think that's not going to happen. It can happen, and it can happen whether you are preparing for an appeal or you're working within a financial institution where the senior partner knows that ultimately, or the senior lawyer knows that ultimately, the people who you have to convince are not lawyers, but persons who have important positions within the body that you're employed to. How will I manage if I am assigned to work in a location that is isolated or strange? And this doesn't necessarily mean geographically isolated or geographically strange. Because if you are one of two lawyers in a big business or financial institution, and the people who you have to convince and bring to an understanding what legal principles are relevant are non-lawyers who say them lawyers like to confuse up everything with a whole heap of technical arguments. These are questions that you may not have asked yourself, but you may have to face. What will happen to me if I am in court and a judge asks me to advise on a position that I have not considered? I remember when this was before the two branches of the profession were fused. I was in the St. Anne Circuit Court. And I was defending a man who had learned a skill while he was in prison. And when he came out of prison, he was so determined he was going to start over his life. He went and rented a shop, and the man from whom he rented the shop was the man who actually contacted me and said, I want you to represent this man, because he gave him a key for the shop. And on his way down to Prickly Pole in St. Anne, the bus broke down in Claremont. And he had to be waiting, walking up and down till morning came, so he could go from Claremont to Prickly Pole. Police saw him and asked him to give them a search. And when they found this bunch of keys in his pocket, they charged him of being in possession of housebreaking implements. And he was put before the circuit court. And Mr. Justice Fox said to me, Mr. Small, there must be case law on this. Go into Kingston and find a senior lawyer to give you guidance and come back tomorrow. And that was my experience of having to do something that I was not really prepared for. So these are practical situations that you're going to face. And it will bring you to a realization that law school teaches legal principles, but not real-life practice. There is a hidden curriculum in our profession. Let me repeat it. There's a hidden curriculum in our profession. It is the unwritten rules, the unspoken norms, the soft skills that separate a fulfilled lawyer from one who just survives. And for too long, that hidden curriculum has been a trap. And you are expected to go out into practice and absorb it by osmosis on your own, and often making painful mistakes that punches holes in your self-confidence and feed into the mental health stresses and anxieties that are common among our profession. And you need to recognize it from now, that stress and anxiety is a very common experience of the profession that you're entering into. So what is the answer to all of these challenges? What is the answer to all of these challenges? It is not another textbook. It is not another study group. It is mentoring. It is mentoring. And I'm not talking about a once-a-year coffee chat or a name printed on a piece of paper. I'm talking about mentoring as a core, structured, and valued part of your professional training. I want to repeat that. I'm talking about mentoring as a core, structured, and valued part of your professional training. And as I said to you again, so much by speaking to my colleagues, Hilary Phillips and your former principal and many, many other people who said, look, we've tried in the past, but now I'm going to suggest to you that the law school has 50 years behind it now, and it is time for us to demand that it be given an appropriate status in the functions of this law school to take you as graduates in law through to practitioners in law. Because mentoring translates theory into practice. Think of your legal education as grammar. Mentorship is a process of learning to write poetry. Mentors are translators. They can look at the same case that you just read and said, that is a black letter law, that is a law in black and white. But here is how it plays out in practice. Here is how it plays out if you are in a negotiation, a commercial negotiation. You know the law as it refers to a particular commercial situation, but you have to have a style and strategy of how to take that knowledge and bring it to the advantage of your client. It bridges the gap between the classroom and the courtroom, between the lecture hall and the boardroom, and the larger and more lonely gaps between the law school and working in a financial institution or working in a regulatory agency or in any of the other institutions that advertise vacancies for a position that is ideal for a young lawyer. And a mentor will be of great use to you, not just in the initial stages, but when you decided, this is where I want to specialize, and you decide you're going to move out of mainstream law now and be in a much bigger institution where the attitude is, them lawyers make everything too confused. Them talking to themselves, and we have business decisions to make. That's when your mentor is going to be helpful to you. Mentoring is your career's global position system, your GPS. A good mentor is not going to give you the answers. A mentor helps you to find them yourselves. She may say to you, you are good at research, but you really light up when you talk about your interaction with clients. Have you ever seriously considered that you need to move out of just the research and start to deal more with clients? A good mentor may provide the perspective you simply cannot have when you are in the trenches of written assignments, attending the legal aid clinic, or preparing for or participating in mock trials. And I was talking to, most of the time I've been here, I've been greeting my old colleagues and at afar, but I've been talking to first and second year Norman Manley people. And I understand that those realities are what they are facing now. The practice at law can be very lonely. People surround you, but often you are competing with them. And the reality is that although our profession preens itself by referring to colleagues as my learned friend, sometimes that is just a facade. And it is a mentor to whom you need to have a mentor who you can go to and who is going to make herself or himself available to you to help to address this loneliness that all of us from time to time have felt in practicing law. A mentor must be your safe space. A mentor must be somebody who is prepared to hear you call and say, I have no idea what I'm doing. And this is as far as I've got, and I'm having a brain block now. And the mentor is a person who will say, that means that you are learning. Let me tell you about the time that I had the same experience. So I'm here today to say to you that you, first and second year students at Norman Manley, the first and second year graduates in law who are about to step out into the profession, cannot afford to be passive about mentorship. Last month, I was at a reception, and there are two ladies here that are going to prick up their ears when I say what I am just about to say. I was at a reception that the Bar Association put on in the showroom of all the motor cars. It's not the first time I've been to functions put on the same day that people have been called to the bar in the showroom of all the motor cars. Because hidden in the back of the minds of many of us are, boy, when I become a lawyer, girl, when I become a lawyer, I want to buy a crisp new car. I want to be able to drive into my complex or back to my village and flash my keys. So, Audi sponsors that, but I wonder whether it is not underwriting in our minds that, come, talk to the salesman, and I tell you where to sign. And I remember that at that function, my mentee, who is here, told the audience, you need to go out and find a good mentor. Remember Justice? Yes. And it is good advice. But I dissent in one respect, and it is that the finding of a mentor should not just be the responsibility of the newly admitted attorney or the graduates from the law faculty who are on their way into the profession. It should be a part of the work of the law school. And you, the persons who are on your way through here into practice must be active participants in demanding that mentorship becomes a pillar in your legal education and training. What does that look like? Ask the difficult questions of your faculty and administration. And even if you don't feel that they're ready to give you the answers that are ideal, ask them, what is the school's structured mentoring program? How are you, Norman Manley Law School, training practitioners to be effective mentors? Because one of the problems that Hillary brought to my attention, and Carolina also brought to my attention, was that a lot of the efforts that they had made in the past were not as successful as they should have been because there just simply were not enough mentors. And it means that we have to start training, offering training facility. Don't mean they have to come and sit down in a classroom for people to know what is expected of them. And it's not every successful lawyer is going to be a good mentor. Not every one of them who likes to prips the press and say, after I come out of court today, I have a little news bite for you. And there are those of us who do that. But we need to ask the question, how are we training practitioners to be effective mentors? And how are we measuring the success of that relationship? It's a similar question that you need to demand of your potential employers. When you interview for summer jobs, or when you are going the rounds to try and find a place in the profession, ask about the culture. What does your firm's mentoring program look like? How are junior associates paired with senior lawyers? Is there training for mentors? Organize yourselves. Form a student coalition on professional development and mentoring. Invite practitioners to speak not just about their area of law, but about their career journeys and the mentors who help them. And when I say practitioners, I again emphasize, not just those who are frequently in the media. And I see a jurist laughing, because the jurists have a view of lawyers who are more active in front of the microphone than in front of the court. And finally, be the mentor you wish you had. Even as students, even as graduates of the, even as students of the Norman Manley Law School, even as interns, you can mentor recent entrants to the Norman Manley Law School, and you can start to take an interest in undergraduates at Mona Law. When I started practice, there were only a handful of ladies in the profession. In fact, there were less than 10% of the profession were ladies. And members of the profession, men used to say that law is a jealous mistress. Today, it is more correct and socially and politically sensitive to say it is a jealous partner. And it will take a lot from you that sometimes will rob you of your interpersonal relationships. So we have to be aware of this when we are talking about passing through this institution into practice. By demanding mentoring as a core part of your training, you're not asking for a favor. You're insisting on the tools you need to build a sustainable, successful, and meaningful career. There are few who stumble and fall early in professional life. We don't want to have any of our colleagues slip and fall early in their career. It has happened before, and there's a current case. I'm very careful not to mention any names or any circumstances, but there is a current case that involves someone who slipped and fell within 3 years of living here. And I'm not talking about fall down and scratch knee, bust head, bust everything. As bust up as you can be after you leave the law school. So, there you have it. I hope that I have not intimidated you and that you will speak. Let's have a conversation. Thank you again for inviting me. To be your guest.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep the round of applause going for wisdom, experience, style, and grace.
Yes, one moment that jumped out to me was when Justice Small spoke about the hidden curriculum and how soft skills as an attorney are so important and how manners can bring you far. And it's not only about academic work, it's about networking and being mentored by people who are more senior and have more knowledge than you. Well, the conversations I had with the attorneys made me more aware of some of the responsibilities and burdens that becoming a part of this profession involves. So it's something that I'm certainly going to be cautious of when I enter the profession.
It is also important to have manners. Manners carry you through the world, they carry you a long way.
I tell you, that thing is really a good part of that is.
My name is Kelly George, and I am a second-year student. What I learned from my mentors, one of the things is the niche. Find a niche, because there are areas in the profession that are not saturated and everybody has a space. And you should not shy away from it.
The mentorship program at the Norman Manley Law School is an extremely important initiative. Many times, students, when they graduate from the law school, they are not prepared mentally and emotionally to the challenges that they will encounter in practice. They have done very well academically and intellectually, but the experience of interacting with clients, going into the courtroom, and the day-to-day encounters that they might have, they may not be fully prepared for that, even though they would have done an internship, done some training at a legal aid clinic. Being able to have somebody that they can turn to and get advice on a regular basis and some guidance on how to proceed and overcome any fears and uncertainties and insecurities they may have. That's extremely critical to their development as young attorneys. If the graduates have to find mentors themselves, that's much more difficult. Not all of them will get somebody who is willing and able to mentor them. Whereas if the law school can identify suitable mentors, that certainly helps in the process.
My name is Clinton Lang, and I'm a final year student at the Norman Manley Law School. And fortunately enough, I had the privilege to be seated at a table with the author of the book called The Ethical Lawyer, Professor Dr. Ali. And The Ethical Lawyer, that book really speaks about how a lawyer should conduct himself in his everyday life and also his relationship with clients and how he should conduct himself before the court, how he should respect others, how he should respect the client's funds, and how he should not put himself in a position to bring the profession in disrepute. So I think the biggest lesson that I've learned since starting this law journey is that as an attorney, you are held to a higher standard, and it is important that you always strive to be an ethical person, an ethical lawyer. Learning about ethics in the classroom is very important because the lessons that we learn in our ethics classes are lessons that we'll have to carry with us forever in our law journey, because as lawyers going out there, as I just stated, we are held to a higher standard. So persons are looking to us to come and solve their issues. Persons are looking to us for guidance. So for me personally, I love the expectations that persons have of me and the expectations that persons have of me to adequately represent myself and to represent the legal profession. Canon 1B states that an attorney shall maintain the honor and dignity of the profession, and he shall not bring the profession into disrepute, and that's something that I am eager to do. I must say that I am very pleased with the law school for this initiative, and I commend Mr. Malcolm, the principal, and his team. And I think that this event was very important because it really reinforced the importance of having a mentor as young attorneys, because at the end of the day, even though some of us may have ventured in different areas before law, we're fresh to the law fraternity. So it is important that we find a mentor who we can reach out to and get guidance, because knowledge is power. And these senior persons, Mr. Hugh Small, President of the Court of Appeal, Mrs. Marva McDonald Bishop, Mr. Christopher Townsend, these are persons who would have done their time over the years with a wealth of knowledge, wealth of experience. So it is important that you make connections with these persons, reach out to them and try to build proper relationships. And I look forward to the future events such as these.
My name is Kennedy Henry. I am a secondary student at the Manley Law School. And before I begin, I want to say I'm so extremely honored to be at this table. What I've learned thus far is, number one, as our guest speaker pointed out, law is not only books. There's a hidden curriculum. It's about soft skills, it's about building relationships, it's about learning with people, learning how to deal with people, learn everything. It's very much a people profession. And secondly, never stop reading. Never stop reading even after school. Read just because. Read the law just to read the law. Never stop being a student, not only of the profession, but of life. Thank you.
When I stepped out, my mentor was standing out here and I didn't know that he was there, Mr. Keith Bishop, and I'm forever grateful for Mr. Bishop because he was my landlord tutor in first year, and I also did my internship with him over the summer. And even after doing my internship, Mr. Bishop has always been a person that I can just reach out to at any time of the night, call him with any problem, and he's always willing to help. And that is the key thing of a mentor. A mentor is somebody that is always willing to assist you. And in assisting you, this does not mean that they're just going to give you every single information that you ask of them, but they will guide you. So I have a mentor and I'm looking forward to making more. Yes.
I think it's an obligation of senior attorneys to mentor persons who come into the profession. I myself benefited greatly from the assistance which was given to me, the advice and the guidance provided by the guest speaker here tonight, the Honorable Hugh Small and his brother Richard. In those days you had chambers, and so you were privileged to be able to get into a situation where you had a number of senior attorneys available to you. I am absolutely delighted that we had this dinner this evening. I commend and congratulate the law school for this initiative, because speaking to the young people at my table, there are times when they face a lot of confusion and conflict. But they also feel that if they confide in a senior attorney, it will make them look as though they are incompetent and that they are not up to the standard which is required. I was able to assure them that all of us go through this, and certainly if they had a challenge, I was there for them, because I would be prepared to speak with them and to guide them through any of the processes, or just talk to them about life. It's very important that you recognize that it's not just about the law, but as you try to find your feet and find your pathway, you do need somebody who you can simply talk to and who will assist you without any judgment. Because there's a perception that an attorney is somebody who drives a flashy car and lives in a particular place and has a particular type of lifestyle. Some of them are serious about their application and their analysis of the law. You have different persons who have entered into the arena. My own guidance to them now, because you have so many attorneys. In my days, you only had a few attorneys, but now you have so many attorneys. I say to them that you need to find a niche. Follow your passion. Do something which is interesting. Think out of the box. Think about cybercrime. Think about environmental law. Think about maritime law. Do drafting so that you have an area in which you can distinguish yourself rather than just going in, setting up a practice where you do everything.
It was nerve-wracking, but they made us feel very welcome and they imparted their knowledge on us. So it was a wonderful opportunity to get a chance to learn from them, and you come to realize that they were just students just like us, so they understand the challenges that we're facing and they're able to impart their knowledge on us and give us guidance for the future. So what we learn at school is important as well, but opportunities like this are very, very important because it gives you a chance to learn what the profession will actually be like. And as you said, it is more than just the textbooks. It's how you carry yourself, it's how you speak, it's how you interact and treat other people as well.
We senior attorneys have a duty to the people, the budding students in the profession. One day they will be taking over from us. And the beauty about our profession, the noble profession, is that it brings together the seasoned professionals with the up-and-coming professionals. And we have a duty to continue the great tradition of the legal profession. And what we saw tonight was Jamaica again establishing leadership among Caribbean countries in an event like this. I was impressed with the quality of the questions that were asked. You can see the urge and the interest in learning and understanding, and to bridging that divide, to accelerate their own learning process so that they can benefit from the experiences of persons 10, 20, 30, 40 years in the profession. I think the Jamaican Bar has always been blessed with quality judges. Its decisions of its courts are quoted and cited throughout the Caribbean and certainly in Guyana. So I was not surprised. I was just pleased about what I saw this evening. The first time in court, no matter how much you think you've practiced, it's always a challenge. But even the judges, they give you a break on your first few occasions. They know they have gone through it. And that's the beauty of our profession. And we saw it here this evening. I think there's a great future for the profession in Jamaica.
Christopher Malcolm, who is in my year, came to us and asked us, Chris, can you help me with this? Of course, being member of my year, we support each other. So I said, Chris, don't worry about it. We'll find the people, we will sponsor ourselves, and we'll find co-sponsors for you. So I made a call to some of my clients, and Tasty jumped on board immediately. So between us and Tasty, we were able to pull this off. Now, the program is dear to me because I've always had the view that this is the aspect of the law school that needs strength. What is great about the program is that the law school teaches you, of course, how to be a lawyer, the ins and outs, the academic aspect of it. But the other aspect of it, which is the craft, the things that the law school cannot teach you, and you can only learn from someone who has done it before or someone who is doing it. That is what we bring to the table. That's what this program brings to the table. So when it is that you graduate from the Norman Manley Law School, you will be a well-rounded lawyer and certainly ahead of the game. And that is what we want for our graduates here, for them to be ahead of the game, for them to be stars. A good mentor, one, is somebody who listens, somebody who understands, and of course somebody who has enough knowledge of the law to impart. Right? And that is the most important thing, the ability to impart your skills, your knowledge, yes, and to draw upon others to assist you in doing so. Because mentorship is not meant for just you alone as a mentor. You have to draw on other people too to make this thing work. And that is what the Norman Manley Law School is doing. They're drawing on us practitioners who have a duty to give back to our young brothers and sisters.
My name is Savion McFadden, a final year student at the Norman Manley Law School and the Vice President of the Students Association here at the Norman Manley Law School. I honestly feel like an event like this is one that students should constantly see the value in that the legal profession is more than just our cases and our precedents. It's about soft skills, it's about interpersonal relationship building, and it's something that I think this event mastered very well by forcing us really as students to work and build on those skills that we might not necessarily have been able to experience or work with whilst we're at the school. I do believe that as a mentor myself, seeing something like this really empowers me personally, and it makes me know that there is more, and there is more to gain, and there's more to enjoy out of the profession, and it goes beyond just the job. Well, I can say my table was a pretty stacked. I had the president of the Court of Appeal, I had the principal of the Norman Manley Law School, I had the chairman for the General Legal Council, and I had, the managing partner for TWP, Mr. Townsend. It was a very heavy table in terms of the positions that they held.
Every year we take in between 10 and 15 students from the Norman Manley Law School, where we go through rigorous training within the 10-week span. So we take them to court, we take them on circuits, we give them every opportunity to learn as a lawyer. And we evaluate them, and even at the end of the program, they do a mock trial just to demonstrate what is it that they've learned throughout the 10-week period. So it's an intense program, and we are very, very proud of it.
Now, training of lawyers, as for any other profession, requires that they learn not just theory, but they learn about practice, and in addition, learn how to function in practice. Now, dining, even though persons may think of it as simply a dinner, is much more than that. It is part of a broader networking and mentorship initiative, which allows young practitioners as well as trainees in the law to
put themselves in a formal environment where they can interact with practitioners, interact with other persons, and learn how to deal with issues as they arise, how to be better at dealing with each other as peers, the skills of camaraderie, and to learn those soft skills which you will never learn in a classroom. So this experience is embryonic, but it's an experience which is intended to develop and to help young practitioners and the students that we train so that when they go into practice, to understand the value of being a part of a network, of being part of a profession, and how to function in that profession. Now I want to add something though. While we're doing it now, and persons may want to say here that it is a pilot initiative and so on, the truth is that dining and mentorship has always been part of the integrated program of the Norman Manley Law School. So we're not claiming heritage. What we're claiming is that we're now implementing this initiative at this time to suit a particular need in a manner that we deem appropriate for this time. So dining and mentorship, broadly speaking, help young students and young practitioners to understand that they must have belief in self, to have persons who have been there, who have been in the trenches, tell them of their own experiences and how they overcame the difficulties that they had, what they're to expect, and how they're best to deal with the matters that have arisen for them. And also, the mentorship initiative also allows for students and young practitioners to learn about persons or learn from persons who will say, I am here, I can be a sounding board, I can help you to deal with problems when they arise. You can call me, I will assist you. What we want students to take away from the dining initiative and the broader mentorship program is that law is not simply about the books. It is not simply about how much you know about how, for example, to start a case. What may be appropriate in relation to determining whether or not a contract exists or has been breached. But also to know that there are elements of social graces, there are elements of camaraderie, there are elements of simply understanding how to deal with your peers, how to interact better, to learn what the values and attitudes that can help you to develop and become a better person, and then extend to how you will then be a better professional as well.